you've done some traveling, obviously. You just came back from Mexico. Where else have you been?
I have been a lot of places. I lived in Spain. I went to college in Spain for a little while.
Wait, wait,
Uh,
wait, wait. 10 years of college in Las Vegas. I know, not really, but Las Vegas for college. But then you went to Spain for college? Hey there, foodie fans. Welcome to another Travel Tuesday. We are excited to have you in the house tonight because tonight we get to have my good friend, Emily. Emily fed me a really amazing whole hog that you see in her picture, in her promo picture the other day when we went to a real estate event she held. It was amazing. But even more important, she has done amazing travels, and we're really excited to hear a lot about that. So I'm just going to bring her right in and start talking about it right away. Hey, Emily.
Hi.
Welcome. How are you this evening?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I am amazing. I'm just getting started. I know I'm kind of tongue-tied tonight. I don't know why. So it sounds like I've already had about 5 of these, but I'm okay.
Hi.
How about you? What are you drinking?
So I have an obsession with the TV show Outlander. I'm drinking the Sassenach, which is a whiskey made by one of the main characters from it, and it is delicious.
Okay.
So cheers.
Cheers. I don't know what Outlander is. That's interesting.
It is set in Scotland, so I'm obsessed with Scotland, and this is a Scotch whiskey, so it was just perfect. I had to buy it.
Well, Scotland is one of the I won't say few places because there are so many places throughout the world, but I've been a lot of places and I've never been to Scotland. And yet, all of my heritage is from Scotland. So I need to go there.
Yes, you do.
I guess I'm going to watch the TV show first. So for me, I discovered a while back that I actually love any whiskey or bourbon or rye that is finished in other types of barrels. So this particular one, they actually they age the whiskey in the barrels, then they put a stout beer in the barrels, and then they put the whiskey back in. So it's finished in stout beer barrels. So it's called a stouted whiskey.
Nice.
And, I really like it.
That sounds delicious.
It's tasty.
That's really complicated.
Yeah,
when just a little bit. All that, the first thing I thought was it's like a twice baked potato.
So how is that complicated? That's simple, right? Everybody, thank you for explaining it. It's a twice baked potato in stout
all the years
barrels.
that we've been married, have you had a twice baked potato from me? No, because I won't do it because it's too complicated.
She makes a valid point. So, Emily, yes. I know our guests are probably like, why is Emily here? Who are you? Let's talk about you.
Oh, okay. What would you like to know?
Well, let's start with where are you from?
I'm from California, born and raised in Southern California in a tiny little town called Yucca Valley, although I don't think it's that tiny anymore. But I lived there my entire life until 18 and then moved to Las Vegas for 10 years. Now I'm here.
Las Vegas. So what took you to Las Vegas?
College.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't the glitz and glamour. It was college.
No. It was like 3 hours away from my hometown, and it was a really good deal on college. So that's where I went.
Oh, well, so that was one heck of an education if it took 10 years.
Yeah. So I have been in real estate since I was 18. So during college, after college, and currently still in real estate.
Wow, fantastic. So how did you end up, out of everywhere, how did you end up picking Central Florida where you live now?
Great question. So my best friend from my childhood and everything. He lived with me in Las Vegas, and then he moved here to Central Florida, and it was just kind of perfect timing. So my sister and I packed up and moved out here right afterwards.
You are doing amazing things in real estate. That's actually how we met. We met through an organization called Orlando Real Producers. Shout out to Aaron, who was also on one of our episodes. He also sells Cutco knives. So reference back to that amazing interview. But with real estate, you have to actually know a lot about your community, don't you?
Yes, you definitely do.
So tell us first, because you started there, tell us about Las Vegas.
Okay. I was working for a team out in Las Vegas. I worked for the Brooks team for 10 years there. And I love being in an entertainment area. So Orlando and Vegas are very similar, but it was a really awesome opportunity. I mean, you live in a city that never sleeps. You get all the any type of entertainment possible. So shows, restaurants, you name it. It's actually quite small comparative to Orlando. Orlando is much larger than Las Vegas, but really awesome place to sell houses. We sold high rises. So I worked a lot on the strip selling condos there.
Well, that's very cool. So where in Las Vegas would we need to go to have a very good cocktail?
Oh man, there's so many options.
Yeah. I don't want any of the casinos on the strip or any of that. No, I want to know where the locals go.
Yeah, me personally, I still went to the casinos, but the off-strip casinos. So, spent a lot of time at Green Valley Ranch. Most of the off-strip casinos are the station casinos. So, I spent a lot of time there. There's some great fine dining. I know at Green Valley there was Hank's, which was amazing. And then really little hole in the walls, which were awesome. So I remember one of our good places that we like to go was called Bootleggers, which was a little Italian place that had some really good cocktails and dinner.
Okay. So where are these places located? I know that there's the new strip and then there's the old area. Is it somewhere else completely or? Okay.
Yeah. So, and actually I'll come back to the old area, but Bootleggers was still on the strip, but south. So before you got to Las Vegas Strip, it was over in the Silverado Ranch area. And then Green Valley Ranch, the casino is in Henderson.
Oh, okay. I recognize that name.
Yes. Yeah. It's the city right next to Las Vegas.
Yep.
But actually, one of our favorite places to go, best prime rib for next to nothing, it was past Old Town Las Vegas, so past Fremont Street.
Fremont Street. I couldn't think of that.
Yeah, Fremont Street, which is where all the cheaper casinos and everything are. You went past that down to Jerry's Nugget, and they had a little cafe in there that you could get. I don't know what it is now, but when I lived there, it was like $10 for a prime rib dinner. That was just delicious. And even when I go back and visit, we still go there and get the prime rib.
Nice. And I love prime rib.
Oh yeah, me too.
Do they have actual horseradish or do they have that crazy horseradish cream stuff?
So you can get the actual horseradish. I like the creamy horseradish. So.
Oh, no.
But yes, they do have that. I mean, Lowry's is another good one that was a go-to for prime rib as well. It's one of my faves.
So I remember a really cool place from there. I don't know that I had any fantastic food or any amazing cocktails there, but just the atmosphere was really cool. And we have some place here now that is very similar to it. The Container Park.
Oh, yeah.
Did they have that when you were there?
Yes. We actually went there a lot.
I love that place.
Yeah, it was really cool because it was so different, just completely different than anything you'd experience. I wish they did Boxy Park here a little more similar to that one.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, they didn't. I feel like Boxy Park is really cool. It's got really cool concepts with the containers, but the container park in Las Vegas, there's so many more shops and restaurants and so much more space for businesses.
Right.
And that was part of the draw for it.
And I think that Boxy Park is built more to be some kind of a live venue,
Yes.
rather than being more like the container park over there in Las Vegas, which I thought was an amazing concept.
Yeah, no, the owner of Zappos bought out a lot of that property down there in the Fremont Street area, and that's where the container store came from. He did a lot of, partnerships with a bunch of local businesses. So there was a time where you would go to this symposium and present your pitch and say, like, this is the type of business that I'd want to open, and he would partner with you. So you didn't have to bring any capital. You had to bring a great idea. And that container park and all the surrounding areas, that's where those came from.
That is awesome. So before that, I know the real estate gave you the experience in Vegas, but before that, you grew up in California.
Yes.
Do you remember any great places from that area?
Ooh. Let's think. I mean, I'm sure I do. Why can't I think of anything? We spent a lot of time down in Palm Springs. We didn't have a lot of crazy good options where I grew up, but one of the places kind of near where I grew up was the 29 Palms Cafe. That place was, or 29 Palms Inn. They were really good. There was a little restaurant where I lived called the Roadhouse. I don't even think it's there anymore, but they were a cute little sandwich shop that had other meals and stuff, but they had a really good menu. But down in Palm Springs, we would go to the river, which is an outdoor mall area, and they had some great restaurants there. I want to say Babes was the name of it. That was a really great barbecue place. And then I know it's a chain, but Yard House was one of my faves. I liked going there.
So chains are okay. I mean, I actually ate at a chain today, but it was a little bit smaller chain, Bar Taco. I don't know if you're familiar in the Dr. Phillips area. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Every business has to get started somewhere.
Absolutely.
So even the Yard House, it started as one location. So we got to give them props too.
Yeah, they used to have one of my most favorite things. They don't have it on the menu anymore, and it just makes me sad. And they had béarnaise sliders. So you would get these little sliders with béarnaise sauce on them. So good. They don't have them anymore.
I like the truffle fries.
Ooh, those are good too.
Yeah. They're great drunk food.
Oh yeah. The tasting room here in Winter Garden, they have duck fries, and those are amazing.
Been there. I love tasting room.
The duck fries. Where are the keys?
So good.
Give me the keys. I'm gonna get duck fries. Give me the keys.
Well, shit, I'll meet you there after this.
I'll Uber.
We'll meet you there.
Yeah, perfect.
So when it comes to, we'll talk about the Central Florida area in a little bit, but when it comes to foodie destinations anywhere in the world, because you've been a lot of different places, is there one place in particular that comes to mind?
Ooh, so I have like my two favorite types of food, which would be Mexican and Italian. So I think just because of proximity to a time of where I was there, I was just in Mexico for a week. So I truly enjoy not Caribbean Mexican food, but like Baja Pacific side Mexican food. Growing up in Southern California, being in Las Vegas, like if I'd have known that Central Florida did not have the Mexican food that California had, I don't know that I would have been here, but I didn't do my research first. So anywhere Baja side, the food's just perfect. I would say for whatever reason, my latest kick has been duck. Yeah, we were just in Mexico last week and we did a Peking duck dinner at a restaurant at our resort, and that was phenomenal. I was laughing because you were with me the week before where we did a whole pig. And then literally a week later, we're doing a whole duck, and I'm like, wow, okay, I have a thing about, roasting animals on things. But yeah, that was cool. And even last year, I was in Europe for a couple weeks, and every city I went to, I ate some sort of duck dish there, and it was incredible.
So Bar Taco actually has duck on their menu as well. I don't know if you knew that. They have duck tacos.
Ooh, I need to go to Bar Taco.
So there's such a difference there. Mexican food and Italian food. I mean, they can't be further apart.
I know.
Mexican food has so many bright, especially Baja, bright flavors and seafood fish that are not in heavy sauce, and then there's Italian, which is all pasta and sauces and rich.
Yep.
So I guess you have tastes all over the board, huh?
Oh yes, yeah, and it tastes for anything that's not good for you.
That's what they have in common. They can both be very gluttonous.
Yeah, they're great when you're drunk too,
and they can be both can be very carb heavy.
Yeah,
more Italian food, but still a lot of your rice and stuff. So, I personally don't think they're that far apart. I kind of put them together, but I'm a weird person.
There we go. I'm with
you. When it comes to that, you mentioned gluttonous, or Carla mentioned gluttonous. The thing that gets me about Las Vegas, I've actually had guests on the show, and we all have the same thought process. That the only reason to go to Las Vegas when it comes to food is for the gluttony. There's nothing, there's no real, and correct us, please, if there is someplace, there's nothing there that is uniquely Las Vegas. There's no restaurant that you can't get anywhere else, or cuisine. It's all just the same stuff that you can get everywhere else, just a little bit cheaper so that you could play at the slots.
Sometimes a little bit more expensive. Yeah, and I don't think Las Vegas has anything specific to them. Yeah, I can't think of anything that would be specific to Las Vegas. I can think of plenty of places that I've been. So, I mean, the big thing in Las Vegas is a buffet, because what we're used to as normal human beings, not from Las Vegas, is not even remotely close to what a buffet in Las Vegas is.
True.
So, like growing up in California, I mean, if you were going to a buffet, you were probably going to the hometown buffet. I don't even know if they had that over here, but I think
it closed.
Yeah, I would say it's probably equivalent of like Golden Corral or something. And
the buffets in Vegas are a little bit better than that.
Oh my gosh, they're amazing. So I would say like that changed my view on buffets, because it was like, you go to a buffet and it's like, whatever, it's been sitting under a warmer light for so long, but you go to a Vegas buffet, totally different experience.
True. I'll give you that one. So the one place I can think of, and I just thought of this because I've gone there recently. There's a place called Hash House a Gogo.
Yes.
And we have one here in Orlando, and that was the first time I'd ever been to one. And I was fascinated by the size and portion of the foods and the quality. Amazing food.
So good.
So I learned that there's actually one in Las Vegas as well.
I think there's two. They are, what's funny is I went to the one out here and it is not as good as the one in Las Vegas.
Are you kidding me? Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Now I have to go.
They have the one that I want to say that there are two, but I don't remember for sure. The one we used to go to all the time was at the M Resort, which was in Henderson. And we would go to the pool and the pool club there. So we would always start at Hash House of Gogo. So you got a good base layer before you went and spent the day in the sun drinking alcohol. But there, to me, like they have that pork loin that's like hammered and breaded and everything. That's phenomenal. Their breakfast quesadilla is so good. Many a times I've had their hangover breakfast that was a Pabst Blue Ribbon in a brown paper bag with bacon. That was delicious as well. But they make their, I think it's like a sage chicken and waffles. Everything on their menu is phenomenal.
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, the first Hash House was in Las Vegas.
I do believe it was.
Yeah, I think it originated in Vegas.
That's why I brought it up.
Interesting. I didn't know it was from Las Vegas. I remember their glasses being like a funky shape, and for some reason I thought it was from like Iowa or something, like from what the glasses said.
So that's possible because I spoke to a server and they told me that there was a place in Indiana.
That's what it is, Indiana.
But what he told me was the place in Indiana was just like a lab. They do like the creative process of making all these amazing dishes happens in Indiana.
Okay.
But I don't know, maybe we got our facts mixed up about whether it was started there or in Las Vegas. I don't know.
I don't either, but I know it's delicious.
Absolutely. So you've done some traveling, obviously. You just came back from Mexico. Where else have you been?
I have been a lot of places. I lived in Spain. I went to college in Spain for a little while.
Wait. 10 years of college in Las Vegas. I know, not really, but Las Vegas for college. But then you went to Spain for college too?
Yeah, I did a study abroad there.
Aha.
I had this notion that I should speak Spanish, and so the best way to do that would be to immerse myself in the language and go learn there. I've taken 4 years of Spanish, and I still cannot speak any Spanish, but it was a great learning opportunity. I really think I went just to pretend like I was going to school and live in Europe.
What better reason?
Exactly.
Nobody actually goes to school for any other reason than just to be wherever it is they are, right?
Exactly.
So we've got Mexico, we've got Spain. Now, if I heard you correctly, you said your favorite food is Italian.
Yes. I have been to Italy multiple times. I actually went to Italy with my granny. We went on a trip. Oh gosh, I think just about 10 years ago now. We did a cooking vacation. So we actually went with a company. You stayed at a bed and breakfast with a chef. And every morning the chef taught us his recipes and everything. I still have the cookbook. I still know how to cook some of it. But you would go out in his garden, pick the fresh herbs and everything. He would take you to the local market, and then you would cook all morning, learning his recipes, and then eat like this 9-course meal for lunch with wine, because everything in Italy comes with wine and it's unlimited. Always. They put a bottle on the table, and it's just expected that it should be gone and more bottles to come.
Absolutely.
But that was really cool. I really want to do something like that again. It was one of the ways that I learned how to cook, and just a really cool experience because it was such a small group of people, and you learned a lot, and you got to eat and drink. I mean, how does it get any better than that?
Well, you and I have spoken about that just a little bit already. And I put Carla to work, and we are going to be announcing, probably before this actually comes out on the podcast, that we are going to go on another trip just like that in May or June of 2022. So we would love for you to be on that trip.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds amazing.
Hey, you know what? The one thing is, though, I put in a request. I actually would rather go to France.
I'm down.
So,
I would go to France. As long as it's in a wine region, so we can also go wine tasting.
And I did my study abroad in Grenoble, France.
Oh.
Which is just a little over an hour away from the Rhone Valley. So,
nice.
Yeah, I'm much more partial to France.
I'm in.
And I read a book once called A Year in Provence. So, let's go to France.
Perfect.
I did Google it. The actual hash house of Gogo was in California.
Really?
We were completely off.
Yes.
Oh, well.
Everybody thinks it's Vegas because it's been on Man vs. Food, but it's actually San Diego.
Oh, really? Huh. Okay, well, according to this show, it started in Las Vegas. That's what we're going with.
Sam says hi.
Hello, Sam.
Hi, viewers.
Tiny Dog Sam is on the screen. Hashtag Tiny Dog Sam. Or hashtag @Tiny Dog Sam, I guess, on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, yes, our dog has an Instagram page. So
I love it.
Now we've been to Mexico, of course, Las Vegas. We've been to Italy. We've been to Spain. What's next?
Last year I went to, it was an epic trip. Again, referencing the fact that I got obsessed with this TV show. I went on a trip with some friends for both my sister and my friend's 30th birthday. And we went to Amsterdam, Germany and France. And at the last minute, because of my obsession with Scotland, 3 of us added on Scotland. So I actually started in Scotland, went to Amsterdam, went to Germany, and then went to France. So those 4, and I had been to most of them before. That was my first time in Amsterdam, which was cool.
Unbelievable. So out of all of these places we've already talked about, and I know there's probably more, but
yes,
from what we have talked about so far, name one place that if I could snap my fingers and put you there, you would go back and have a meal right this minute.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a great question. It's gonna be, there was this this little restaurant we went to in Scotland. It was on this cute little back road thing, and that would be where I would go.
What?
I don't even remember the name of it. I'd have to look at a map to tell you where it was.
Well, you are either in or you're going to be in our Facebook group. So you're going to have to share that with our followers.
I can totally do that. I have to look at it. I'm sure I wrote it down somewhere, but some random person told us to go there and we did, and it was phenomenal.
Next question. Same thing. All of those places, where would you go for the best cocktail?
Ooh, best cocktail. I mean France. I think that I don't know which place.
I didn't say wine. I said cocktail.
I know. I'm trying to think. I don't know why a gin drink is coming to mind, and now I can't think of where I would have had it. Because on that trip I was on a big old fashioned kick, so I drank a lot of those. But there.
I've actually noticed that happens to me as well. I'll be, for example, I've been with bourbon, and then the past couple of days I've grabbed tequila. Ooh. Just because I needed to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, I go through phases.
That's probably why the gin cocktail stood out to you.
Yeah, no, I never liked gin, and then probably in the last 2 years, it became, oh, okay, I like this. I've had some really good botanical drinks. I don't know where I had it, but I'll have to look that up too.
Have you ever had Chartreuse?
Oh, I have. It's been a long time.
So the Chartreuse Monastery is located about 45 minutes from Grenoble, and you can actually taste all kinds of herbal liqueurs from them. But the original recipe, the 170 plus ingredients that go into Chartreuse, is only known by 2 monks at the monastery. They still know and own the recipe.
Wow, that's awesome.
So I don't know what happens when they're gone, but
yeah, hopefully they pass it on to somebody.
yeah. So where else? We've gone around the world a little bit.
I have been to multiple countries in Africa. That was a really long time ago, so I don't remember. I don't really feel like we went to restaurants there. We stayed at really awesome places, and the experience was really cool. I wouldn't say that the food was something that that I would go out of my way for. I do remember that they took us to what they called the original Hard Rock Cafe, which was literally like rocks in the hills, and you were eating the antelope that you were watching, or gazelles or whatever they were. There was like little gazelles hopping around, and then you were eating like that same meat, and you're like, this is weird. I'm watching what I'm eating. Thailand was a really cool adventure. Really random food experience there, but we ordered McDonald's delivery and they had chicken wings.
I've heard a lot of different, I've actually been to a lot of different places and seen some interesting items on McDonald's menus. Dubai, United Arab Emirates, has some interesting things on their menu. Ooh. But I don't know that I've ever seen wings.
Yeah, it was very random, but they were delicious.
We went to McDonald's. They had a crab roll on the menu.
Really?
Wow. Lobster roll. Sorry, lobster roll. I know. Wow. I'm not. We didn't get it. I'm sure it wasn't as good as a local place, but it's like lobster roll.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's not something you ever see.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say memorable restaurant that I've been to, and I've been on this trip twice now, and still to this day, I would go back in a heartbeat, is.
All right, foodie fans, thanks for tuning in. Check us out next Tuesday for part 2 of this fantastic Foodies interview.
Bryce, you jerk. We want to know the answer.
Well, great. Hit subscribe.
Fine, but you're sleeping on the couch.